To our professor, Dr. Luzminda Machete, and to my co-masterand, a pleasant day to each and every one. Okay, our topic is about theoretical and conceptual foundations of curriculum planning and programming. And there are four foundations of curriculum or education. First is philosophical foundation, psychological foundation, the historical foundation, and the socio-cultural or the social foundation. So my assigned topic is all about the psychological foundation. So from the word psychology, it is the scientific study of mind and behavior. It also provides a basis for the teaching and learning process. There are three major groups of learning theory. First is the behavioral psychology. This considers that learning should be organized in order that students can experience success in the process of mastering the subject matter. So first is the connectionism. So first theory under behavioral psychology. Connectionism is based on the principle of active learning and is the result of the work of the American psychologist Edward Thorndike. This work led to Thorndike's laws, the three laws of Thorndike. First is the law of readiness. This law states that learning is dependent upon the learner's readiness to act, which facilitates the strengthening of the bond between stimulus and response. So, law of readiness. Learning is dependent upon the learner's readiness to act. So, kung estudyante is ready na siya nga mo learn, so ganahan na siya nga magtuon bisag unsa or na siya independent, dili na siya kinahanglan nga atong sunod-sunuron tungod kay ready naman siya to learn sa mga lessons. And then the second, we have here the law of exercise. This law implies that one learns by doing and one cannot learn a skill by watching others. So, we learn fast when we are engaged in an activity rather than just watching the others performing the activity. So, that is law of exercise. Then the third one is the law of effect. It states that responses that produce a satisfying effect in a particular situation become more likely to occur again in that situation. And responses that produce a discomforting effect becomes less likely to occur again in that situation. Of course, when we see something that is positive, that has a positive effect, we are going to repeat and repeat and repeat it again and again. But if we see or if we notice that our something is wrong or it does not have a good effect, we are going to stop doing it. So, ang mga butang nga maayo og resulta atong balik-balikon, and then ang mga butang nga walay ayo or dili maayo ang effect or negative ang iyang effect, dili na siya nato balikon. So that is law of effect. Second, classical conditioning theory. Ivan Pavlov is the father of classical conditioning theory or the SR theory or the stimulus response theory. This refers to a learning procedure in which a biologically potent stimulus or food is paired with a previously neutral stimulus or example is bell. So, when I say classical conditioning, for example, you are going to show food to a dog. So, the response of the dog is, the dog will be salivating. Maglaway siya kay pagkaon good na siya. Then, kung imo siyang pakit-on o bell, what is in the bell? So, there is no response from the dog. Kung imuhang taparon ang food and then the bell, so you have noticed that kanang mag-salivate na ang kanang ay dog. Then, kung imo siyang, kung makadungog na siya sa bell, na-condition na niyang huna-huna nga, uy, ning bell naman siya pasabot, time to eat. So, that is classical conditioning. Classical conditioning also states that the key to learning in early years of life is to train them what you want them to become. Therefore, we are going to train our child, our learners, from the very young age so that in order for them to learn. Kay kung ang bata sa gamay pa siya, dili na siya nato hinay-hinayan og tuon or train, mudako na siya nga wala siya'y nahibaw-an. Whereas ang mga bata nga sa gamay palandaan, ginagmay tudlo, hangtod nga mag-anam sila kadako, mag-anam pud og ka daghan ilahang learning. Kay kung pasagda na siya nga inilang eskwela na siya magtuon, so more na siya dili siya kuan sige na kung unsay gusto ka nga ma-bright na imong bata, hinahinayin na siya tudlo samtang gamay pa. Kay kung dili na siya nimo hinahinay tudlo, inigdako na niya, magnangara na siya. Okay. So the third is the operant conditioning theory by B.F. Skinner. So this theory is a type of learning in which behavior is strengthened if followed by a reinforcer or diminished if followed by a punisher. Your attitude toward the learning is kanang maayo na siya kung kahibaw ka nga naa siya'y kanang reward or reinforcer. Kung kahibaw ka nga, uy, kung kanang naay, kung ma-perfect ko sa test karon, my father will buy me ice cream. So that is your reinforcer. So your attitude towards your learning is positive siya. And then, kung makahibaw ka nga, kanang naay, mga bata sa mura na kag, for example, ma-zero gani ka, inik-uli ni mo, latuson dyan ka na. So that is punisher. So, kanang naay, ang bata is na condition na yung unahuna nga, hala, ma-zero ko, kay latuson na ba ko ni Papa. So, manikamot siya nga kanang naay, manikamot siya nga, ma-perfect siya, unya kay dili man yun niya kaya. So, na-zero yun siya. So, muna siya problema. So, the behavior strengthened if followed by a reinforcer or diminished if followed by a punisher. Okay. Then we have here the modeling and observation theory by Bandura. So from the word model, from the word observe, modeling and observation theory. So learning through observation is a basic form of human behavior. So we have learned that child is a great imitator. Kung unsay gibuhat sa mga oldies or sa mga elders niya, the child will follow what they are doing or the child will follow what they are talking. That is kanang based on their observation. Unsay ilang makita, unsay ilang madungog, mao na siya iyang kanang sundugon because child are very observant. Kung unsay mong buhaton, they did not know nga sayop ba na siya or kanang na ay sakto, as long as imo na siyang ipakita nila, ila po na siyang sundon. Individuals' behavior are learned through observation of others. So, ang imong pag-observe sa ubang tao, that is one way of learning. So, for example, imuhang kanang papa, sige, panumbag si imong mama, so, ay, manumbag pud ko. Ay, kanang si ate, kung maghilak si Inday, ihag siya. So, sundugon, once may maghilak, iya pong ihag ang tao nga nag-cry. So, they are going to observe. Then, ang tao nga ilahang gitanaw or ilang i-observe is the model. Okay, so, kinahanglan nga, if you are in front of a child, you have to act positively or act in the right way because you are the model of the children. Okay. So, that is about behavioral psychology. The second is the cognitive psychology. So, from the word cognitive, our mind. Okay, so, this cognitive psychology focus their attention on how individuals process the information and how they monitor and manage thinking. So, it is all about our mind. Okay, so behavior, it's all about our behavior. Then when I say cognitive, it's all about our mind. So the advocates of cognitive psychology, first is Jean Piaget. Cognitive development stages from birth to maturity. So I have here first, sensory motor stage, or the 0 to 2 years old, where children gain knowledge through their senses and motor movements. So, ilang makita, ilang madungog, ilang mahikap, so, that mo na siya. Then the second is the pre-operational stage, 2 to 7 years old. It increased ability to think symbolically and logically. So, ganahan na sila, nga na sila kanang mga butang, nga na sila mga favorite nga mga toys. Okay. Having difficulty seeing or unable to see things from other person's point of view. So, magbuot pa na sila ilaha, dili pa na sila maminaw sa uban, kaya kung silang gusto, maog yun na siya. Okay, then the concrete operational stage, 7 to 11 years old. Children began to understand logical reasoning and think logically, but only in terms of concrete objects. So, kamuna na sila murason, kamuna na sila maghuna-huna. Then, pero kasagaran ana nila is when concrete object. So, when we say concrete object, kana rang butang nga ilahang makit-an, mahikap. Okay. Then, the last stage is the formal operational stage, 11 years onward. So, at this stage, children began to think abstractly and can form hypothetical ideas, being able to manipulate the world in their mind. So, you're going to imagine or see things which they did not see, or they have their abstraction. Next is the Lev Vygotsky social constructivism. It is a cultural transmission and development. So it is being passed from one generation to other generation. So knowledge is a product of human interaction. So when we interact with other people, we learn more. Knowledge is socially and culturally constructed, that is influenced by the group and its environment. So, if you are going to interact with other people, you will be influenced by their knowledge. Your knowledge will be added by them, and you can also add what you learn. You can also share what you learn to others. Then, learning is a social activity. So, we are not just going to learn by reading books, by researching the internet, but we learn more if you are going to interact with other people. And then, Howard Gardner's multiple intelligences theory. So, humans have several different ways of processing information, and these ways are relatively independent of one another. So, we are not going to say that student is bulok jud ka because each of us is unique. We have our own intelligences. We are not just going to measure our intelligence by the paper and pencil test, but there are lots of factors affecting our intelligences, or maybe we are not good in academics, we are good in other areas. So there are 8 intelligences according to Howard Gardner. So first is linguistic. So when you say linguistic, you are a good reader, you are a good writer, you love to read books, you love to write stories. Logical, mathematical, so you love numbers, you love problem solving. Then musical, maybe if there is an exam you will get 0, but if your teacher told you to sing, you sing very nicely. Spatial, so when you say spatial, you know how to draw, you know how to decorate the room. And then we have here bodily or kinesthetic. So there are sports-minded person that they want to involve their bodies. Then interpersonal. So when we say interpersonal, you are good with your relationship with others. You want to go along with others. Then intrapersonal, you just want to live by yourself. You don't want others to be near to you because you feel annoyed, or you just want your me time always. You don't want to talk with other people. And then naturalistic, so you love nature, you love flowers, you love plants, and many others. So Maybe you are not good in writing or reading, but you are good in carpentry, that is kinesthetic. Maybe you are you don't know how to mingle with other people, but you write novels very nicely. So that is your talent. That is what makes you unique. Okay. Next is the Daniel Goleman Emotional Intelligences Theory. So we are not just going to focus with our minds, but we are going also to consider our emotional intelligence. So emotional intelligence is just as important as cognitive intelligence. So if we have higher IQ, we must also have our high EQ. Because if you have higher IQ and low EQ, if you are going to fail with your dreams, maybe you will commit suicide because your emotion is not stable. So we have to balance our IQ and our EQ. And we also have people who have lower IQ or the slow learners, but they are not being affected with that. They are just emotionally stable. Okay, emotional intelligence shapes our everyday interactions with ourselves and others. So, if you have higher emotional intelligence, you are not easily affected with the backstabs of the other people, with the negative comments of the people towards you. So, you just ignore that. Because if you have low emotional intelligence, if you will just hear nonsense, negative comments, you will be affected. Okay, so emotional intelligence is as important with our IQ, intelligence quotient, or our intelligence according to our mind. Okay, the third one is humanistic psychology. So we are done with behavioral psychology and cognitive psychology. So we are now on humanistic psychology. So from the word humans, humans have free will. Not all behavior is determined. So each person is unique. Therefore, we are free to do what we want. Even we are even free to do bad. If you want to do it, then go. You have your free will. But you know what is right and wrong, so it's up to you. If you know that is wrong and you are still going to do that, so it's up to you. All individuals are unique and have an innate drive to achieve their maximum potential. So, we have our inborn drive to achieve maximum potential. So, when we are still young, natay gusto nga kuhaon, gusto gyud na siya nato nga makuha. So paningkamutan gyud nato natay gusto kuhaon sa ibabaw, katkaton gyud na siya nato kay gusto nato makuha. Because that is our innate nature. It is our inborn nature to achieve maximum potential. So if your intelligence quotient is not just very high, so what are you going to do is you're going to study hard, study, so that you can reach or you can achieve your goal. Okay, so a proper understanding of human behavior can only be achieved by studying humans, not animals. So if you want to understand why that person is like that, why people are like that, so you have to study human behavior. You have to study humans. You are not going to compare humans to animals because humans are animals, but humans are the highest form of animals. Therefore, we are very different with animals itself. Okay, when you say animals, they do not have, they have their brains, but they do not think like humans. Psychology should study the individual case rather than the average performance of groups. So, when there is a group activity, you are not going to grade the students according to their group performance. But you are going to study or you are going to rate the learners individually. Because maybe there are times that the group make a mess in their performance, but there is still one one student or one learner that excel in that performance. So we are not going to, maybe we are going to give points for group performance, but we must also consider, we must give higher points with the individual performances. Okay, next is the Gestalt theory. These principles determine how people naturally perceive visual elements. So, atong mga nakita, what we see, what we look, then learning is explained in terms of wholeness of the problem. So, we are going to look the whole part of the problem. We are not just going to see the one side of the problem, but we have to see all sides of the problem so that we can understand how we are going to solve it. Okay, then we have here the Gestalt principles. First is the proximity. When different elements are laid out close to each other, they are perceived to be belonging to the same group. So, kunay may umurag, kauban na sila. So, that is proximity. Second is the closure. Refers to making something concrete, bringing something into being or making something real. Okay, the third one is similarity. Objects with shared visual characteristics are automatically taken to be related. So, bisag dili to siya lingin, pero mura siya lingin, so lingin na to sila tanan. So, mura something like that. Okay, fourth, continuity. Elements which are aligned with each other are perceived as visually associated. So, kung nagkuyog na sila or nag-uban na sila, we will consider it as visually associated. More sila related gihapon sila. Next is Carl Rogers' non-directive and therapeutic learning. He established counseling procedures and methods for facilitating learning. Children's perceptions, which are highly individualistic, influence their learning and behavior in class. Curriculum is concerned with process, not product. Personal needs, not subject matter. Psychological meaning, not cognitive scores. When we say humanistic psychology, we are not just going to focus on our product. Nice kaayo ning product sa usa ka grupo, but wala di ka kahibaw nga napahimo sila sa lain. So we are not just kani siya dili kayo nice pero gipaningkamutan dayto ngadto nga mga bata. So we are not just going to focus on the product but the process also. Personal needs, not subject matter. So we are aiming to finish our lesson. We want to finish we have to follow the curriculum guide. But there are also times that we cannot meet that because our learners have their personal needs also, that they were not able to learn that subject matter because they have their problems, they have their issues at home or whatever issues they have. Then psychological meaning, not cognitive score. So we are not just going to focus of their scores during tests, but we are also going to consider their efforts in getting that score. So of course we will be happy when our learners got the passing score, everybody got the passing score, but we are not just going to humiliate the pupils or the learners who always got low scores, because maybe that is just their mental capacity. So we are not going to be focused on their scores, but we have also to consider their kanang emotions. That's all for my report. Thank you for listening and thank you for watching.